Welcome to another edition of Acoustic Northeast, where we talk about the singers, songwriters, and acoustic music scene in the Northeast United States. And we interview musicians who play live for us and for you in the studio. I'm co-host Dave Goldenberg.
And I am co-host George Malice, and we are engineered today by gentleman Jim Nowak. We are sponsored by HearItThere.com, WBXO Internet Radio, and Hudson Harding Folk Radio Promoters.
Now, you can listen to us right here, obviously, where we are right now. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube, where you can see some video of our guests performing in studio, and acousticnortheast.com. And we also stream on WBXO.com. Today in the studio, we have singer-songwriter Paul Jensen from Rye, New York. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. We've heard your music, and why don't you kick us off with a tune?
Yeah,
Tell us what you intro it, and tell us what you're going to do.
This first song is called Gosport, which is the name of the town that was one of the most active fishing harbors in the United States about 100, 200 years ago. And it's off the coast of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it's a place where I spend a lot of time, and maybe we'll get into that. And I've written a lot of songs there on the Isles of Shoals next to Gosport Harbor. So, this is a song I wrote about my relationship with that island and the community I've gotten to know there. You took a lot of men on your rocky shores, wayfaring souls, stories untold. And now they come from near and far, some with guitars, you know who they are. They said they would come back to you. Yeah, they did come back to you. God's poor, you don't ask why. You won't say goodbye. You live free or die. God's poured, are you looking for me? You're gonna set me free, or keep the company? Can you feel the love and the pain coming down like rain? We're needing you again. Walk on your rocks might do the thing to mend these broken wings and make us whole again. We said we would come back to you. Yeah, we did come back to you. God's poor, you don't ask why. You won't say goodbye. You live free or die. God's poor, are you looking for me? You're gonna set me free, or take care of me. my spirits home. I said I would come back to you. Yeah, I did come back to you. Gosport, you don't ask why. You won't say goodbye. You live free or die. Gosport, oh, you're looking for me. You're gonna set me free, or leave it to the sea.
All right.
All right.
Nice tune. So that's Paul Jensen. Paul, first of all, thank you for coming up and joining us today in the studio. Let's talk about your musical journey. I know in talking before the show, you told us you were born and raised in Long Island. So, but Gosport, New Hampshire definitely has this hold on you. Let's talk a little bit about that. And you said that you write a lot up there.
Yes. I go every summer in August to this, we call it a conference called Life on a Star and Star Island. Star Island is the name of the place. Gosport's sort of the old name for the village that used to be there. And, you know, it was kind of the late 1800s and the early 20th century was a real important fishing port. And so I go there every year. The family goes. There's other families there. It's about 300 people.
Wow.
Beautiful. 5 miles offshore, right off Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Kittery, Maine.
Mm-hmm.
And I run a open mic night in the evenings. And there's a lot
on the island.
On the island, yeah. And it's very, no roads. It's very, all stone buildings built 150 years ago. And
Wait, there's no roads on the island?
No.
There's just a passenger ferry.
But it's just a passenger ferry. Leaves from Portsmouth. And the whole thing is maybe 1.5 miles across. You know, it's you can walk around the island in 20 minutes, And it's just old buildings and you do sort of there's songwriting workshops or creative writing workshops or painting or we have a theme speaker for the week who may talk about a number of different things. Anyway, I do it, I sort of spend the week there thinking and writing, and then I get to perform songs, as do other people in the performance cafe in the evening. We have a talent show and that kind of thing.
When did you discover that you were a songwriter?
Oh boy, yeah. Probably as early as like high school, college.
Were you in bands?
I was in bands, mostly cover bands, and I really, I've always loved playing. I started playing guitar when I was about 14. I was kind of the, like the kid in high school who was the good lead guitar player, so I could play Freebird, all that stuff. So, I had a lot of fun with that. And then I would give Star Island the credit for really helping me discover my voice, meaning actually become a singer. I was never the singer in the band. I was always good with harmony, and I could always kind of hear it. And then when I went to college, I joined an a cappella group, and that's kind of where I really found my close harmony singing. I was a baritone, but even then, I wasn't the soloist. But when I moved to New York City after college and thought about being a musician, and I spent 3 years writing. That was when I really started to focus on writing. And I spent those 3 years writing and, did a few gigs with a few bands. And I did some pretty interesting things. But, it wasn't for me for a number of reasons. It wasn't the time. I was 26. I was a little sick. I had ulcerative colitis, which was kind of rough. And I was, I went to a good college and I thought, do I need to starve? And I remember saying, I don't know that I'm going to give up risk so much, and I left it, and I stopped. I kept playing, but I just wasn't professionally going to be a musician. That wasn't really in the cards. It never was my plan all along. Somebody sort of convinced me to move to the city, and one of the guys in my a cappella group, and then I said, oh, maybe I'll do this. But anyway, therein hangs a tale, as Shakespeare says, because I said to myself at age 26 when I decided, nah, I'm going to get a different career, and I went into public relations. I said, if I'm ever able to come back to this for love and not money,
well, there's no money in
I
this.
do it. Maybe there'll be money. I said, if I'm ever able to come back to it, if I'm in a position, I hope I do.
And then what happened?
Well, what happened was in 2020, I'd had a very successful career at public relations communications. I was working in a big job running the corporate reputation practice, but I wasn't quite feeling it anymore. The company wasn't doing quite as well as it used to be. The big agencies, we were like the second biggest in the world. The big agency thing was kind of under pressure. And I quit. And I said, I want to think about what do I really want to do next? Because the next is probably my last big move. I was, I guess, late 50s. And the curse that became a blessing is 3 weeks after I quit, COVID hit. And every single option I had was gone. The world shut down. And I was like, okay, this is really, that maybe wasn't such a good idea.
So did you have a plan when you quit? Was it so
I had a little bit of a plan, but all these people I was talking to, they're like, oh, you should come work for us now. You should come work for us. I was like, maybe I'll do something different. I had a lot of options. And then suddenly I had none. So I got a coach, and I started thinking about what do I really want to do now that I suddenly have a lot of time to think about it. And the coach said to me, every time you talk about doing the exact same thing you were doing, going back into that, you really don't seem very excited about it. And I said, I'll be honest, I kind of break out in a cold sweat. I've done it for 30 years. And I said, this is what I told her. I said, I think I'm remembering that I promised myself when I was 26, if I could ever come back to this music. She said, well, you keep lighting up every time you talk about your music. And I said, yeah, I just wish I could do that all the time. And she said, well, could you? I was like, I don't know, maybe. So I hung my own shingle. I became an independent communications consultant. I mean, I wasn't quite ready to go cold turkey on no income. And I said, all right, let's see. And 5 years in, I just passed that mark. I did great on the money and career. I did great.
So you still have clients.
I still have clients, but every year, my commitment to myself is every year I'm going to do less communications and more songwriting and performing. And I'm now down to 2/3 music and 1/3 of the other.
Well, your background, I mean, we all know a lot of performers, and we know they're very good at writing or singing songs, but what they're not very good at is promoting themselves. What were you able to bring from your professional career into your music career?
Good question.
It's such a good question. You would think, having spent my entire career in public relations, that I'd be like the unbelievable promoter. But I was always promoting clients. I have to say, I know exactly what I need to do. I'm very good at that. But I don't like promoting myself. It's my least favorite part of the job.
It's the worst part of the profession. I mean, the writing and the singing and performing is wonderful, but pushing it and getting gigs
you just got to get over it.
Part.
You just got to get over it.
It's the business part of
So I'm quite good at asking people, hey, what's your email? I'll keep you updated on my gigs. I'm relentless with that. I was very good at getting gigs, not giving up, because I learned that, I said, I want to play a listening room. I want to play a place in New York City where you can really do a show and you can hear a pin drop, not a loud bar. I want to play a listening room like the Cutting Room or the City Winery. And the last 2 years, I've played both of those places to almost a full house.
So how did you get those gigs?
So someone asked me that.
And was it legal?
Yeah. So I emailed, and then I emailed again. Then 4 or 5 times, no response. So for the cutting room, which was the first one, I just went there. I walked in, and the lady who ran it, they call her Mama Bear. She's like, it's fun. She's sitting there, and I said, you may not know me. I've sent you 4 or 5 emails. I live in Rye. I know I could bring a lot of people here, and they're a little older and resourced. They eat, they drink, they do all the things you want them to do. So she said, okay, well, send me a note. I was like, I've sent you notes. And I said, why don't we pick a date? She was like, well, maybe. So I got her engaged. And I said, maybe like a Sunday. We could do a Sunday. And then I went home, and she's like, yeah. And I followed up, and I sent her a note, and nothing again. And then I found out who owns the place. So I copied him. And then I was just like, I think I could bring, I said, honestly, here's what I've done. Here's my music. And 2 more notes. And the owner just goes, how about Sunday, November, blah, blah, blah. Done. You just can't, you got to believe in yourself, and you can't give up so easy, So I did that. And then again, that was kind of a similar story with City Winery. And after that one, I actually found a guy who knew the booker. And I said, can you give me the name of the guy? And he was such a generous friend. Instead of giving me an email, he emailed the booker who he used to work with. And he said, this is my friend Paul. I know he's going to fill this room. And the guy said, great. How about this date? And I said, done.
So your advice for getting the gig is to persist, which is great. Believe in yourself and persist.
Yeah, your stuff's got to be good, but you got to really persist.
What about filling the room, though? I mean...
Well, that was just a ton of work.
New York City,
No, it was really hard. The City Winery is funny. I sent a note to my Facebook group of my high school class, and I didn't do it as a post. I did individual. This is the really... you got to really be willing to put yourself out there. I had friends, some I haven't seen in 30 years, but I just once 2 or 3 said, I'm going on this Facebook group. It was like, yeah, I'll go. Oh yeah, I'll go. And then someone posts, hey, there'll be a mini reunion. And then I, did the same with a couple of other different groups. I probably spent 2 months, 2 weeks rehearsing and 2 months promoting it.
Yeah. That's great. So you went down there with a band, am I correct?
So I went there with a full band, the people I record with in the studio. And that was a big draw because I had people who were, really good musicians.
So coming back into playing and everything, you had to find a band. So how did you go about that?
I asked people, oddly enough, the daughter of the CEO of my company was a singer-songwriter. And I asked her who recorded, because her stuff is very Americana like mine. I said, who do you use? She goes, I use this guy named Mikhail in Connecticut. And if he doesn't know, he's a producer and he just knows a lot of people. So he and I today, this was like 3 years ago, he and I today are like good friends. He produces everything I do. He's hooked me up with a lot of musicians. He hooked me up with a fiddle player who played at my City Winery show who, she just finished a tour with Goo Goo Dolls at Stagecoach. And because her Australia leg for the tour with Noah Cyrus, Miley Cyrus's sister, got canceled, she was able to do my show. And she added a huge dimension to my show, having an actual really good fiddle player. So, my old boss, when I started my PR career, I used to always say, I can't do this. I don't have experience. I can't do this. I never did it before. And he would always say, why not you? I don't want to hear this shit from you anymore. He said, well, why not you? So that's my advice,
Sure.
Why not you?
Why not me is a great name for an album, too.
Yeah. So, it's really great that you're doing this. You're doing this stuff for yourself. You're fulfilling, your goal.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who, after they retire or they get a little bit older, and they've always been musicians, but they had to support their family, they had to go out and make a buck, who now are doing this. But you've gone further now. You're giving back to the community also. I wanted to talk a little bit about the singer-songwriter series that you founded down in Rye, New York. Tell us about that.
Sure. So I call it the Sound Shore Songwriter Series because of the towns along the Long Island Sound. Well, that's a simple story. I was looking for places like Cutting Room and City Winery, where you can really have a listening room. You can play and people, not a loud bar, where people actually sit, have a drink, and can, they're interested in independent original songs, not tribute band, and they actually are going to listen. And we just don't have that much in Westchester County. It's really, even up here, like you guys actually have, there was Uncle Chief's opened up. Do you remember Uncle Chief's?
Yeah, we played there.
That was, I was one of the early people to go there, and I talked to the owner and I said, this is great. We really need places like this where people sit and they're interested in listening. And, of course, I think they're gone now. Yeah, you guys know. So I couldn't find a place like that. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'll make one.
Wow.
And I went to our local arts center that's got a great room.
Why not you?
Why not me? It's got a great listening room. And I said, if I bring you like Bluebird Cafe style Nashville, like 3 stools, 3 acoustic guitars, we'll do one a season, right? We'll do 4 times a year. If I bring the musicians, can we do, we'll charge $20. And she said, sure, that sounds great. Yeah. And I said, your sound system's not quite good enough. I'll bring the PA. So I do all the work. I source the artists. We've had great people. We've had Drew Angus. We've had Dan Zlotnick. We've had, all kind. I had a woman come up from Philly. And these are all just people I just found through friend of a friend or asking around. Yeah. I don't know if you know Claire Maloney. She's got
yes, we do.
Okay, so Claire she's like, hey, call these 6 people. She'll probably do my next one with Rebecca Haviland, who's going to do it as well.
You'll have no problem getting people to play.
Yeah, because they all tell me the same thing, And the irony is they come, most of them are like a little further along than me, right? So they come and they're... it's mostly all my fans because it's in Rye, and there's about 50 people.
Sure.
And they find 50 new people sitting quietly listening to them that they never had before. So they're just like, thank you. This is incredible. And I said, no, thank you, because you're helping me make this.
So you've built the kind of series that you want to play in.
Yeah, that I want to play in. So so I'm the third. I host. So I need 2 more artists. So it's 3 of us every show, and it's sort of 1, 2, and then I'm at the end, and then we all take turns. So I basically built a place I could play at. That was the...
Well, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who do
I'm not
that.
the only one who does it.
Yeah, but it's great. It's great that you're giving back. So yeah, let's get another tune.
Sure.
And tell us what you want to play.
So this one is, I don't know if any of you or any of the listeners out there have dogs or cats. This, I had a wonderful golden retriever. He just couldn't have been a better life companion, and we had to say goodbye to him this year. Actually, Shoaly, named after the Isles of Shoals, another Star Island thing. He lived to be 17, and his last few months, I said, my wife's got a song, my daughter's got a song, my son's got a song. I got to give Shoaly a song. So I wrote this song, but it's not sad, or not intended to be anyway. It's just he was such a summer dog, swimming at the beach. Just loved, just the happiest dog in the world. And so I wrote this song as sort of as many of my songs are, a double entendre. It's called The Dog Days of Summer. And I'm going to play that one for you. Yeah. I remember when we picked you up, 10 weeks old, just a pup. You had nothing to give but love. It wasn't long before you would be the missing piece in this family. Your sister and your little brother made it 3. You were all they'd ever need. Jumping high and running free, chasing rabbits in your dreams, filling all our hearts with wonder, diving headfirst in the waves, finding cool spots in the shade and hiding from the thunder in your dog days of summer. Those summers, how they flew by, sand castles and moon pie, and walking up bus stops and long goodbyes. But if you're lucky, there'll soon be snow. You'll see how fast that sled can go, racing down that hill with two best friends in tow. It'll be spring before you know. Jumping high and running free, chasing rabbits in your dreams, filling all our hearts with wonder. Diving headfirst in the waves, digging ditches in the shade, and hiding from the thunder in those dog days of summer. We all knew this day would come. 17 was a hell of a run, but in the end we all move on. If I could have just one more ride, sitting shotgun by my side, I'd roll those windows down, you won't be denied, cheeks flapping as we fly. You're still running fast and free, chasing rabbits in your dreams, making those angels smile with wonder. You're still diving in the waves, finding cool spots in the shade, and hiding from the thunder in your deep and golden slumbers, in your dog days of summer.
All right.
Yeah.
That's Paul Jensen, Dog Days of Summer. Somebody needs to make a compilation album of people's songs about their dogs. Although I probably couldn't get through it without.
The third verse took me about 10 tries before I could do it.
So, Paul, when people want to hear their music, where can they find it?
So I'm on every platform. So
And it's
pretty much
Jensen.
Jensen. Yeah, well, I will tell you there are two Paul Jensens. So there's another guy, I've never met him, don't know anything about him, but he's out, I think, in Santa Fe, because a lot of his songs are about like that area,
Yeah,
New
he's
Mexico.
got a lot of hair and a big beard, from what I saw him.
My stuff is now, I think, popping up first if you search, because when I first started, it was a little hard because I haven't been out very long. But I've released a lot more music in the last 3 years, so you should see if you just go on any platform, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Everyone. I'm on 35
Paul
platforms.
Jensen without a beard.
Paul Jensen without a beard. And you look for the picture of me, you'll see a guy in a hat, no beard. Look for Dog Days of Summer, any of these songs you're hearing.
And you wrote, or you mentioned to somebody in an interview one time, and this is something George and I have talked about a lot, like when inspiration strikes, it happens to me a lot when I'm driving, and the same thing to George. And you've talked about the what do you call it, the therapeutic power of driving. Talk about that and how that plays into your music.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like driving. My daughter's like this too, just you get to think, get kind of away from it all. In fact, I encourage you, if you look up my profile, look up a song called Drive. There's a really great song on there. And my son plays the trumpet. That's the one he plays the trumpet on. and I wrote a song about kind of driving in your car to just kind of get away from it all, and it's almost like a mental health thing, just kind of like being with your own thoughts and quiet. It's nothing I used to love better. I went to Cornell and I had to drive home to Long Island, with my car, my old used Toyota Corolla. And I remember driving on that Route 17 at night, for the breaks.
Sure.
When you got off for holiday breaks. And I remember if it was like raining or dark, I would put on Dire Straits' Love Over Gold, and I'd listen to Telegraph Road, 11 minutes of...
Sure.
It was like the perfect driving song. And I remember thinking to myself, that song is so hypnotic. You just get into it. And then I wrote Drive in a way kind of inspired by that song. And if you check it out, I think you'll get it. It's just 2 chords over and over and over, but there's like a dynamic peaks and valleys and richness to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you have coming up as far as new music?
New music? Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm dropping a song in a week and a half, which is called Good Enough for Me, I'm really proud of that song. Is kind of, for all the musicians out there, it's about like learning to be good with just writing for you and not the commercial market. A long backstory on that one. I got a lot of songs coming out, and I'm going to put out an album called Gosport, probably late spring, maybe June, which is a lot of these songs I've been talking about and playing. And
you've hit your stride.
Yeah. I have to say, when I decided to do this, the songs just started coming like they had never come before. And in fact, I would love to play for you guys a brand new one. I just wrote this song 3 days ago. And, it deals with a topic that is, it's a heavy topic. It deals with the concept of war.
Okay.
And, in the spirit of Bob Dylan and others who've come before me, this, it's something I struggle with a little because it's, sometimes it is necessary and sometimes it's something that can't be avoided. But for me, it's always been, it's a last resort. And even if it has to be, it's nothing to celebrate.
No.
And anyway, I wrote this song. It's called...
let's listen to that. Paul Jensen, thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to have you take us out with your new song.
Yeah, you got it. All right, this is Wrong End of a Gun. Battle lines are drawn, troops deployed. There'll be no rest till the enemy destroyed. The cause is righteous. The fight's for good. No time for questions, that's understood. And the drums, they keep on beating for the noble cause we're heeding. There's a job here to be done. And the flags will all be waving as the masons start engraving the names of all the fallen ones who got on the wrong end of the gun. Don't call it a theater, no one's playing pretend. And everybody knows how it's gonna end. If the war is just and the reason's plain, why are they struggling to explain? When the smoke is finally clearing and all of those God-fearing souls can see what we have done, Will the drums just keep on beating, drowning out those pleading for love and forgiveness for the ones we put on the wrong end of a gun? Jesus said to turn the cheek. In the end, the world belongs to the meek. But an eye for an eye, so we know. And round it goes. The trumpets will be playing, mothers will be praying. Who's gonna be the chosen ones? And the flags will all be waving as we honor all the brave. And we bury daughters and the sons on the wrong end of a gun. On the wrong end of a gun. Who's on the wrong end